Never stop chasing your dreams.
And never say never. Hey! All right. So, I like your shirt.
Wham! Bam.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, exactly. It's gay enough. It's gay enough.
Yes, it is. And it's music. It's related to today's guest.
Exactly. That's my mindset. What are you doing? Are you gonna sit right there? Stare right at me.
I just secured Fiona's spaying appointment. Um, our newest, the little kitty, Fiona.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
you,
yeah. Oh,
Fiona.
very good.
I just finished making all the arrangements for that. So
Oh, you had your own little girl kitty too.
yes, we do. I'm learning a lot about cats. Are way different from dogs. So
Big,
different.
big time. Oh,
So
big.
less needy. Although she's a little needy for a cat, I think. But
Well, here we are again. We've got Kenny from the Q Review and also the Out podcast.
Mhm.
He's in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and he curates all this cool new music. Like he just puts out a call for new music from queer artists. Like just send it to me, and plays it and gets people to listen. And it's it's an interesting thing to be doing. And I love it for him because isn't it the hardest thing to get your
Oh my
music?
God. I was just going to say, as an independent artist, I am so appreciative of people like Kenny that appreciate our music and put us out there. Hey,
There he is.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, long time no see.
Long time no see, long time no chat.
Oh man, you look good. You look good.
Thanks.
We were
It
just
is summer. I enjoy when it's nice outside. I wish I could be outside a little bit more other than being inside and working. That would be great. But
yeah. It's
you live.
how is the weather there? Because last year you guys were getting all kinds of humidity and hurricane force.
We were pummeled last year.
Yeah.
We had we had forest fires. We had people being, taken out of their homes and stuff like that. And we were all praying for rain to cure us of the forest fires. And then we got hit with so much rain, we flooded completely everywhere. Like
Lord.
people
It's like
houses burned down and then were washed away. It was
Oh my
crazy.
God.
This summer, it's a little bit more manageable. It's quite warm right now. It's really nice.
oh, that's good. Yeah, we've had some nice, perfect weather today. It's been very rainy the last couple of days, which I think is good because my gardener came and did some weird thing to my lawn in the backyard. And
Isn't that what they do, though?
like, yeah, he has this like new age thing where I'm gonna bring all of this dead moss and I'm gonna use it as fertilizer and put it all over the lawn and then let it sit for a couple weeks. And then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna use the rotiller, whatever, I don't know, and
Oh,
pick it up, mix it up or whatever, redisperse it, and then in a couple of weeks you'll have this gorgeous, lush green lawn. And it still looks so awful. It just like I'm like, oh my, it looks so much better before he did anything to it. But I'm hoping because we've had so much rain, that it's pushing it all down. And now we've got a couple of days of in and out sun. So I'm like, God, maybe by the end of the week it'll start looking like what he's telling me it's going to look like because it's not. It's not.
isn't it hysterical how you go in life from wanting to look like this, to experience this over here, to I just want a green lawn. Like,
Oh my God. It seems so simple. And to be honest with you, Kenny, I've never given a fuck about a backyard ever. Like I lived in a condo for 15 years before
That's
that.
why I
I
like
was
the
in
condo life.
the condo life. You don't
Don't
do
talk about
anything,
a
right?
backyard,
Oh
right?
my God. And
I
then
live on the ocean, so I love all of that. Like I love I don't have a green thumb, I have a gray thumb.
Oh,
I like stone and
oh,
rock
me
and I
too.
love that.
yeah,
I love that saying.
yeah.
I'm gonna adopt that.
It's
And if
nice.
I
I
It's nice and
adopt you,
coastal, isn't it? It feels
it
coastal.
is
yeah,
very
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
So
My
I don't want to kill anything, even a plant, but I will do it not because I'm murderous, but because I'm
no,
not good
yeah,
with the horticulture.
me
yeah.
too.
It's a
I
nice
even killed
sentiment.
a silk plant one time. So I tried to clean it. I actually killed
That'll
it.
do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can kill a silk plant. My BFF happens to be in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Judy is on a cruise right
Oh, how
now
fun.
in Halifax, Nova Scotia. She always wanted to go there.
That's
And
Judy's hitting
yeah.
some hot weather. She's hitting some hot weather here, so it's a hot time
Oh
in ye
man,
old Halifax.
it's a good thing she's itty bitty. You
good
know.
thing she's little Judy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Well, Kenny, before you came on, JD and I were talking about the wonderful thing that you do, and that is to give a platform to a lot of queer artists that don't really have a place for their music to be heard. And so you just put out a call and say, send me your music. You have a listen, and then you not only will you review it and play it, you put it on your you have a podcast as well. You've got an FM gig, right? Like a
Yep.
regular radio gig, community radio. Um, and I mean that is when I hear all the different ways that you get their music out there, I think to myself, that's probably the most anyone's done for them ever. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like it's a massive undertaking for you, but I can't imagine how grateful these artists are to be, to have someone, putting their stuff out there the way you are. It's so commendable. I don't even know a better word.
yeah,
I
totally.
I you know so my with my background, I am in community service. I always have been in nonprofits. As much as it drives me crazy to always have to be scraping for money, and looking for funding,
Yeah.
it's to me it's always been really important. And my mom instilled in me two things: know how to fix your own house, your furnace, and check things, because someday nobody's going to come to your rescue. So that was number one. She's like, you need to know how to do everything yourself. Number two that she instilled in me was that if you have something and somebody has nothing, together you can both have something. And I
Very-
always kind of took that to heart. And I looked at, what I was seeing not out there, especially being part of this community. And to be honest, not figuring out, not really knowing how I fit into the community. Um, when I was coming through post-secondary and I was working with students, and I was always telling them about music, and here's how you go and source artists for your events, and cast a wider net, think broader about the artists that are out there. When I was leaving post-secondary, it kind of dawned on me that I'd been teaching students, but I didn't even know where my community of artists were and why I wasn't hearing them. Why was I never hearing about queer artists? It's because nobody was giving them an opportunity to be heard.
Yeah.
Just this morning, it's so funny. I don't know what happens with social media and the algorithm, but just this morning, I've never really had much in the way of negative comments in social media.
Yeah.
So very, like, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I've never really had too much of an attack. Um, it in the past couple of weeks, I'm now seeing more and more comments, right? I'm fairly certain a lot of them are bots, because that's just the world that we live in.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Indeed.
I'm now seeing, because we're coming out of Pride Month, I'm seeing people commenting and saying, it's over, you can shut up now, things like that.
Oh
Where
wow.
I'm like, we're not talking about music and rating music. We're not talking about who's making the better song. We're not talking about who's got a better voice. That's not what it's about. It's about
Mhm.
the fact that there's a need for representation and
Mhm.
people knowing the art within their own community. And that's just human decency to give people a chance to be seen and heard. It has
Definitely.
nothing to do about the music that's being created. So the artists themselves, it's so funny because some are very like so excited to hear themselves for the
Yeah.
first time ever on a radio station.
I can't
And
even
it may
know.
be internet radio, but even on an FM station, and it may be a small community station, but they're so excited that somebody gave them a chance to be heard and
Ex-
that other people are hearing them that
Exactly.
it's changes them. And they send me videos of listening to themselves being heard, like
Oh,
listening to themselves being played on the radio. And to me, that's what
so
it's all about. I don't care if somebody says you're doing this or you're doing that. This is great. I don't care. The fact that that one person has had the chance and the opportunity to sit there. I mean, Nick Dantes, who's just this young guy in NYC. I think he's in NYC. I can't remember where everybody is. But, he's there with his mother listening to his song
Oh,
being played on the radio. And the
oh,
two of them are dancing around. And to me, I'm like, that's just all that matters,
yeah,
right? We didn't
yeah,
have that growing up. We didn't have
100%.
those opportunities. So if
exactly.
I can give any of them an opportunity to find some new fans or people, that fall in love with their music or just go, oh my God, I didn't even know such a sound existed,
Right.
then at least it's helping in some way, shape, or form.
Exposure, and it's making them feel special for a change, you know? It's it's so hard to get traction these days. Like you said, there's a lot of negativity going on, everything gets heightened when it's there's the politics get involved, and the bots come out and the trolls come out and they're just looking to feed off of, something, and part of the reason why I like Threads so much is because if I put out a post like I have a lot this week, a lot of engagement this week that gets seen by 30,000 people, and it gets either liked or retweeted or not tweeted, reposted or whatever, 2,000 times,
Rethreaded, is that what it's called?
rethreaded,
Yes.
yeah, repost, rethread, whatever, like 2,000 times, there's a really good chance that some asshat is going to chime in and try
Oh,
and
100%.
capitalize,
Mhm.
on it by saying something negative and getting people to pile on. But the beauty of Threads is that if you don't like what they said, you can just hide that comment from everyone instantly, and you're literally you can limit, who is even allowed to reply or repost to just the people that follow you and you feel good about, because from the beginning I've looked every time somebody follows me, I've just had a quick glance at their bio to make sure that I wanted them to, or maybe I would follow them back or whatever. So I know that the people that are following me,
Yeah.
I'm okay with. So I
Mhm.
will limit who can reply, and it will be just the people that follow me. It won't be some, shitbag that found it, when he opened up his threads and it was just the first thing in his feed. And he went, "Ugh, I'm having a day and I'm just gonna, be all negative, hide it, and if they even try and follow me, I just remove them, remove follow.
Right.
I love that. So you really get to curate your own community.
Can't you do that on Instagram also and Facebook? Just get rid of the comment, or you
Yeah,
can't?
yeah, you can delete them.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, of course. But I think on Threads, because it's so fast moving and it's kind of in real time and
Oh, oh,
getting so much more engagement, I like the fact that I can control it and
I
and
need to get better with Threads.
yeah,
I
I
have
learn
to.
something new every day about it. Every day. I couldn't figure out how to get the stupid little ad off. Like the birthday thread. There was that thing where if you hashtag like happy birthday Threads, they would put a little party hat on your thing. And by like a week, I'm like, I'm sick of this. This looks stupid. How do I get this hat on? Like, I don't want this hat on anymore. And they're like, just go to settings, go to your profile, go into edit, and you can just turn it off. And I was like, well, thank you. Like
It
everyone
is far more user friendly than a lot
really
of the
is.
others. It
It
is
is.
very user friendly. I will
Definitely.
say though, to a point that something you just said, with some of the comments that I've gotten recently, and it's so funny because it's been about the radio show. It always is. It's always some kind of muckety muck DJ that just decides that to kind of chime in on something. But
Right.
I was like, hide, unhide, hide, unhide, hide, unhide. And I kind of kept going back and forth. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let this live out there because people need to know that
Yeah,
some of this stuff
Right.
is said.
Right.
But then there's other ones where I'm kind of like, oh, you're not, you don't even believe what it is that you're posting. You're
right.
literally just posting it to try to just get other people to
Wow.
chime in on this.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to go.
Yeah.
If you have a point to make and you want to debate something, no problem.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm all about it. But if you're literally, and you can tell which ones are which,
Yeah.
it's kind of
It's
like,
so obvious. It's like glaringly obvious. It is ridiculous. And I'm the
I'm like,
same.
you're just a garbage human. You're just a
Yeah.
garbage human.
Yeah. And then, there are times where I'm like, "Grr," like I'm in that, "Grr," and I will like go back and forth a little bit, you know? And then I go back and I look at it and I'm like, let me just make sure that I didn't come off crusty. You know what I mean? Like that it's not me that's coming off crusty. And then have a little look. And if I'm perfectly okay with it, I leave it. And if I have come back and looked and went, you're being too provocative. You're totally provoking them to go on. Then I just delete all of it. I'm like, fuck it, I don't want it on my feed. And I'm just finding that I'm liking the community that I've built there a lot better. And I did the other day, like just kind of dip in to the old place to Twitter, and oof, what a toxic hellfire dumpster
It
shit
really is, but
swirling. I was like, whoa,
it's
whoa,
almost to the
whoa.
point. Twitter is now, or X, or I don't even care what you call it, Boing.
Yeah,
It's almost to the point where it's almost fascinating
it's sad.
just
It's
how much of, yeah, like just a hell spawn it is.
Yeah, and
Now,
it
I
makes you
use it.
happy that you're gone. Like
I'm
happy I'm gone.
I've
I've never,
lost 1,000 followers on Twitter since the
yeah,
whole switchover, and that's because there's a lot of people who are there's a mass exodus, and that's fine. But I know that there's still artists that are there and people who are listening, and
Sure.
so I still go and I still push some stuff out there. But I really want to just almost bite the bullet and be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Very
But I don't
liberating. I
want
will
to
say that.
not I don't want to give up something that could potentially be supporting an artist, but I also at the same time I don't know if that it's even serving them anything. And I think I
Exactly.
need to
I've just put like, closed for business. Meet me on
really,
Threads, follow us on Threads.
wow.
And we went from having I want to say, and I think JD, I think maybe the year, but I think it was more like the end of 2021, beginning of 2022 that I even created a Rainbow Remix account for Twitter. And there was about maybe 250 followers.
Yeah,
And when I
right.
posted that I was going to Threads and I opened up our Threads account over there, I said that just recently left Twitter. It felt, toxic and negative, and it wasn't doing anybody any good. It's really damaging to your mental health. Hope we can find followers here on Threads. And within, I think it was a week that we had 3,000 followers. Like I remember I kept sending you
Yeah,
the
you
total.
showed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I
just think it's just a little bit more pure. And I like that. And I like that we've kind of been in on the ground up, and we've got good people, good engagement. People are seeing stuff, people are commenting. It feels more like an actual community.
and I
I think
uh,
it's the same for every group. Like I don't feel like it's just that way because for LGBTQ people, I feel like it's that way for if you're an artist, if you're into something specific, if you're a gamer, if you'll find your people there,
yeah,
like authors and writers and mental health therapists. They
right,
have their
right.
little groups of people. And
I
I
like
More for
well,
art.
I like the purpose of the threads in terms of the fact that you're limited to one hashtag,
Yes,
and
yes,
it's either
Oh, that's nice. I don't
I
know anything about Threads. I have to really start working it.
yeah,
I'm
you'll
on
get
it,
there, you'll get
but I'm
there.
not working it. But I have
It's
that. I
taken some time for it to really kind of find its footing and ground. And I start looking at it and I'm liking it more and more. And I just need to always remember because it's been known as the Instagram Twitter, which is unfair to it, but
Mhm.
it is
It
kind of
is
how it
unfair
is.
because there's
like,
not a lot of influencers on Threads.
No.
Like their home is definitely Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like Threads is more for, it's not about the engagement you're getting. You're making actual friends, if you will.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it could be
comforting
like
duvet.
I see so much stuff like someone, not even people that I follow, but when you first open it up and it does the for you or whatever, I'll see someone say, 60 days sober, feeling so good. And there's like 9 million people going, well done, good job, keep going. I'm on this. It's like you have these cheerleaders that are just there for you instantly, no matter what. Someone will post a picture and say, somebody told me this top was ugly, and everybody be like, girl, that looks fantastic on you. You keep it up. You keep going. And it's just, it just feels so supportive in every way, shape, or form
I
that it
remember
does stun you when you get like a negative person. It's just like, ooh, ooh, where
I
did you come
remember
from?
when you described it as a comforter and a duvet type of a feeling
Right.
after
It was, yeah,
the
like being,
body
Twitter
fall
was,
down
yeah,
Twitter.
Twitter was like being launched off a jagged cliff and hitting every bump on the way down. And then
I
Threads
love
was
that
like landing on a
visual.
cloud, like on the perfect hotel bed. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's really the antithesis of what Twitter is and was. So it's really good. And I think there is, I mean, I'm not going to dispute it. There's a lot of queers over there, and they're happy and they're not getting bullied and shit on and on a regular basis. So it's nice. It's perfect. But
Where
the
did
thing of it is too is that like you can put something in that's very um niche,
Yeah.
queer music, queer creatives, something like that. And you will see them come out and like that post, or someone will follow you because you share that interest. And I like that. You build and build and build and build. It's really good. And I
I
think
think it's taken a bit of time for some folks to get a handle on it,
yeah, definitely.
because they've treated it like every other kind of social media
And it's
rather than curating
yeah,
it the way that it's kind of meant to be, I think.
100%,
Um,
100.
but I think that it's a much more positive place to be online. But I also think that it's also so you forget about it, but we have to be better at it
Yeah.
because if we don't take control of it and curate it the way that it's kind of meant to be, you can have the same effect that
It'll
happens
have that,
on
yeah,
every other
take a
platform,
bad
right?
a bad turn. Exactly. Kenny, where do you find the most people? Like when you
ask it?
put the, yeah,
Okay,
when you put the call out, where are you putting it?
so first of all, please don't find anything that I'm about to say creepy. It's not done in a creepy manner. I do a
Oh,
few different things. Do a few different things. First of all, I mean, I use hashtags, of course, on Instagram. Um, but I also spend a lot of time trying to do one-on-one work where I do this thing called hashtag roulette. So on Instagram, I will go and I will sift through certain hashtags that I follow. So that could be just LGBTQ music, LGBT music, trans music, queer music, queer artists, that kind of thing. And I sift through and I try to find, and now right up front, I get a lot of the folks that I already know. And I keep
okay.
going and I try to find folks that I haven't seen before or I haven't come across. And a lot of the times I will go to their DMs and I will either just send them a message. A lot of the times, sometimes I'll just send them voice message. And what it is I send a voice message just saying, hey, I came across your profile. I was checking out your music. I just want to say good on you. It's great. If you ever need any support or whatnot, this is not a sale. I just want you to know that you can come. I'd like to know more about you, your music, but I want it to be on your end. I don't want to just assume that you want your music or you put out there on a platform like this. Most of the times they're just shocked and they're kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe anybody would go through the
Yeah.
bother to
No.
actually send me a voice message, not just a DM, but a voice message
Right.
to listen to. And I
Yeah.
just find that one-on-one approach sometimes, there's a lot of folks who you can tell are out there and they're really looking for support. They may not know how to do it. So when you see it, it's kind of like, oh, I can glaringly tell that. But
Yeah.
now what's happened is it's more of an avalanche where I can open up my Instagram at any point in time. Twitter is what it is. It's never going to be what it was for me. So I leave it over there. I don't worry about it.
Right.
Facebook, more community. So I engage with community on Facebook a lot more. And that could be pride organizations. It can, especially rural. I love the fact that I will find a rural pride organization that will put out a call. It's like, if somebody wants to put an ad in our little program, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll fucking do it. Let's go. Because so many times nobody will pay attention to them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're doing ground level work. Let's
Yeah.
support them. So I
Yeah.
do things that way. But online, community with Facebook, Instagram is where a lot of the artists are. TikTok is an anomaly to me, and I'm working with it, and I push out a lot of music on TikTok. I don't want to push me out because I'm like, nobody cares. But then people tell me that no, they actually do, and it really should be you. And I'm like, this is too much. But
Yeah.
TikTok, I find I'm picking up very, very different people that never come into contact with me on other ways. So I'm finding the segmentation of the social network kind of really interesting, but I do it all. And then I try to do that one-on-one bit where you got to knock on someone's door and say, hey, if you're looking for something, let me know. I'm kind of here. But I find a lot of the artists now are actually helping direct other people towards me.
Great. I was just going
Yeah.
to ask you if you've
Artists.
created that word of mouth now where people just know, hey,
Yeah.
I'm looking to get my stuff heard. Can you help, in any way, shape, or form? It's fantastic. And it's so um amazing to me, like you said, these rural places that it reminds me of the series We Are Here. When they
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
when the drag queens go to the the
Right.
little rural places and they stick out like a sore thumb. And I always wonder if that's the experience of like a queer singer in the middle of
Oh,
rural
probably.
anywhere. Yeah.
I can tell you.
You're Oh, sorry, JD, go. I have questions for you as well, JD.
Okay. I was going to say, as an independent artist myself, I can't tell you how much that means to hear from someone like you. And then on top of it, that you go the extra mile and do a voice message is so cool. Like, that is just, you really feel heard. And as an independent artist, you really, a lot of times, do not feel heard because your music is like a needle in a haystack, I feel like sometimes, because you could reach so many people with the internet, and then again there's so many people on the internet with music that it's, I feel like a needle in a haystack kind of an environment. So
That's
that's
why I
just
really like to put the music out there. Like at some point in time, it will not be surprising to me in the least if somebody just decides to try to sue me for putting out an image or music or something like that. Like it won't surprise me because it happens. People all of a sudden get notoriety, or they get all of a sudden a manager, and then blah 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 blah. But I think you need to put that music right in front of people's faces. And for like honestly, JG, I'm going through your catalog that's on Spotify, and I'm
oh,
kind of like, what? Are you kidding me? Like you
wow.
have just such a phenomenal ass kicker of a Spotify. Like your music is out there, and now is the 17 to 22-year-old set going to be, clamoring for it? Probably not, because they're
Right.
force-fed music and it's usually the same sounds. But
Mhm.
anybody who's like a 30 plus, 35 plus, right? knows, especially if they're from a rural area, right?
Mhm.
They know your music. They want to know you. And I'm 100% sure because I have lots of little rural places around me. And you are the kind of artist that I piggyback on. And I was like, have you heard this artist? Have you heard this artist? And I'll play it at a booth. And people will be like, who's
Oh,
this? And I'm like, you need to know this artist because if you like the sound, this is what they're about. And I
Mhm.
think that you have to remember that the person that like you as an artist, your job, I mean, your job is everything for sure, but your job is really to make that music and make people feel good. That's what you're out there doing. You
right.
have an art. The rest of us, we need to kind of remember that as great as it feels to have this big name or whatnot and come into contact with them or to be able to kind of say that, we're listening to this kind of music, that's a dime a dozen. And your music is the diamond in the rough. And the diamond in the rough always prevails and always is at the end of the end of time that people come back to. It's music that you will keep coming back to because there's something in there that jars you with a memory, makes you feel a certain way, and that's what you have. But the world that's out there doesn't actually play by those rules. So
Yeah.
those of us who are out there in the trenches kind of like scurrying around and digging through, we always have to remember not to let the big shiny thing over here
Mhm.
outshine the real true diamonds that are out there. And it's a mindset we have to turn ourselves onto. I
It's
don't know what I think I was starting to talk about one thing and then I went in a completely different
but
direction.
it
You
is, it's
totally made my day. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Thank you for
yeah.
listening too.
I think I've always felt like JD, your music was relatable to such a big broad group. Like I can see single women liking it. I can see couples liking it. I can see
Thank you.
men liking it. You know what I mean? Like it's because
Yeah.
it's the songwriting,
Yeah.
that and that comes through and the lyrics like can hit anyone, and I've always felt that since the early days, you know.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because what what you said, Denise, and what you said, Kenny, are both true about my audience because it's not the 20-something-year-olds. Although I do get surprised when I do have a younger person saying, like particularly my song "Almost Home." It's about reinventing and never giving up and starting it over again. That it like changed made a difference in their life. That like what you said before about how a person gets excited, an artist, when they hear themselves being played on the radio. I've had people tell me how certain songs I wrote made a difference in their life. And that's if sometimes it's, the one or two people. I'm not reaching millions of people with my music, but when it's those one or two people that tell you that in a week or whatever, that makes a difference. But Denise, you're right. I always thought my audience was going to be like mostly women, but I do have men that like my music as well and
Yeah.
follow me,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And it's a much different thing for my album. Maybe It's Just Me, which I wrote alone, and Hard Road to Heaven, which I wrote mostly every song with Keith. I had a co-writer on that one, Kenny. And I think women especially, like the stuff I write on my own better because my lyrics are just more right to the point. Where he's a little more poetic in his lyrics, and he likes to be more fun. Where I'm a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
So
I
Oh,
will say
definitely.
that your first song that I listened to was Redneck Limousine.
Yeah.
And first of
My
all,
favorite.
I saw the title and I was just like, oh, that has got to be the starting point.
Yeah.
Redneck Limousine, it's just such a juxtaposition, right, of two different worlds that
uh-huh.
I can imagine who, even before I heard the song, I was like, I can imagine who the audience is for this. And I started listening to it and I'm kind of like, do you know who Billy Mick is?
No, I
No.
do not.
So I'm gonna drop Billy Mick's Instagram. I love Billy Mick. So Billy Mick is, I mean, Billy's in his in not to tell too much of a telltale, Billy, if you're watching this ever. Bill's like, he's in his 50s, and I believe so. If he's not, then sorry, Billy. But he is a rockabilly, rock and roll dude.
Yeah.
Billy is gay as all fuck. And he is a queer man, but he loves his rock and roll, and he knows how to take the sounds of like old school rockabilly kind of sounds and turn it into today's modern sound. And he doesn't give a flying AF about what anybody thinks about his music. He goes out and he has the best time ever. And I come into contact all the time with people who are saying, especially if they're like my age and they're kind of like talking about what they listen to, right? And I always drive them towards Billy Mick. But Billy Mick is somebody who you remind me of when I listen to your music, where it's kind of like it's really honest and it's really who you are and what you want to create. And you're not worried about here's what the world is saying it should be. And you just
Yeah.
kind of go
Yeah.
for it. And
Yeah.
because you do, it resonates so much. And that's like Billy Mick. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you ever thought you didn't or did like kind of that rockabilly old style kind of rockin', school rock kind of thing. The moment you hear it, you're kind of like, I'm
Mhm.
in, hook, line, and sinker. And that's kind of what I got from this. Like I said, listening to Redneck Limousine right out of the get-go, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I
You
know this group.
know,
I know these people.
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
that you mentioned that song, Kenny, because that song won an award last year in industry. You know what the Mark Awards are?
I'm
MARK.
I'm
Mark.
familiar. I'm familiar with the name. I don't know enough about it, though.
It's an industry award for licensing for music that's being licensed to music to movies and film and commercials. And
Right.
so I have a publisher in Paris, and they submitted me for a Mark Award. I didn't even know, and then they didn't tell me until I was nominated, and I actually won. And I have this,
Best
it
day
looks
ever.
like a Grammy. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And I would have never guessed that song. So the fact that you picked that song too, and Denise, you said that's your favorite, blows me away because I thought that song was lost in time because I thought the terminology redneck was not cool anymore. So
You know,
I didn't.
I think that, when you think of the word redneck, and so, you know, uh, uh, Chris Hausman, who is an up and coming queer country artist, he's really making a name for himself. I've been on his ass since I very, very first heard him. I think he's incredible. And I said, this is just a matter of time before the rest of the world finds out about you. um he has blue collar kind of like taking back that bit of like this is where we're from, this is who people think we are, and we're not going to be ashamed of it. Redneck isn't. I think that the problem is I think a lot of people really are starting to gravitate towards it because it's not necessarily about your ideals. It's a colloquialism that I think some people either take
Yes,
offense to or have embraced because they are cool with it. And I
yeah,
think that again, that juxtaposition, that kind of redneck limousine, because everybody thinks of redneck as being lower class, which really it's not. It tends to come through from a status, social status kind of thing, right? But everybody wants to be in a limousine, and
Exactly. I
do you
was
know what I
just gonna
mean?
say it's not a negative.
It's
It's
not.
absolutely not a
yeah.
negative, like here, I mean,
That's
you
so
literally
cool.
are combining, like the wealth disparity
Yeah,
thing and just
Completely.
and morphing it together. Yeah, I think it's great. That one and Yanking My Chain is my other
oh, thank you.
favorite
That's
one.
one of my favorites
Yeah,
too. And
that
the
like
whole thing,
totally gets me like jazzed up. Like I just
oh
love
my
that one.
God. When I heard Keith playing that bass line when I walked in the studio that day, I was like, I love what you did with the bass line because that's the whole song. It's the groove of that song.
Hmm.
But and then Blue Collar Girls. I don't know if you heard that one, Kenny. Blue Collar Girls is about being, again, blue collar girls. They don't need diamonds. They don't need. They're cool. They just kind of the same thing. But Redneck Limousine was not meant to be. You're right. It was not meant to be social class. It was the North and the South. I'm a
Right.
New Yorker. that wants to be a Southern girl. You know, I want to
Right.
play country music. So that's what
Yeah.
it was really about.
I
Yeah.
will
It's a
say
perfect
that your
blend.
Spotify kind of you know, it confused me because I didn't know that there was two. So I found the first one
Oh, is there?
without the periods between the J and the D.
Oh, man.
And then I found the second one with the periods, and I was kind of like, there is more than what meets the eye here. And that's where I kind of started to dive in.
I
And
didn't know
that's
that.
because Blue Collar Girls is on Hard Road to Heaven.
Yes.
Um, and then
Yes.
I started kind of, because that's like, I'm looking at it now, 2009 is when
Yeah.
Hard Road to Heaven came out. And your current one was 2022.
Yeah.
So not that long ago. But there is still, what you've done is you've taken and because you've re-recorded some of them and brought them out.
Yeah.
The Blue Collar Girl song, what I will say is that you should really look at that as you need to bring that back. I
I
think you
love
need to
them.
bring it
It's
back. I think you need
anthemy.
to
Like I
take
said that. It's
Thank
and
you.
do a
it's
little
got
bit of an updated version of it because I think it speaks to a lot of women out there. I really do.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I think I might. You know, my friend is an avid line dancer. Do you know Patty Cavallo, Denise? She used to live in Florida. She moved back up north, and goes on. She's part of the line dance community where they do these cruises, and everybody from all over the world meets on these conventions and these cruises. And she choreographed a line dance to Blue Collar Girls. And one day she sends me this YouTube video, and this line dance teacher in the Netherlands picked up her dance, and there she is teaching the class in Dutch. And she presses the little button on the boombox, and there I am singing Blue Collar Girls, and they were dancing this dance in the Netherlands. It was just
That
so
is
cool.
amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that was so cool. Yeah, she
Like
sent it.
honestly, music transcends, man. It boundaries, countries, and like I said, the class, economic, socioeconomic class. It totally transcends. It's a beautiful thing. And what I like about queer music is that it's pushing its way right into that. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
It's just bullying its way right in where it should be. And
Well, and
and
I think
look at
too,
like
it's
little Nas X and Orville Peck, and you know what I mean? Like just elbowing their way right in, right to the front,
listen,
sitting at the table.
I can say some very lovely and some very dirty things about Orville Peck because that dude has, oh my God, like I have a big heart for that guy. But what I will say is that, kind of talking about, it can be anywhere, it can be from anywhere. It's so true when you look at, and if you just go through, if you ever listen to my radio show or the podcast, I'm always trying to kind of make sure that it's not just, I get a lot of American artists because there's so many American artists, and I totally get that.
Big lane,
Um,
big
but I'm
lane.
always trying to kind of make sure that the UK is represented. I try to find like in Ireland and Scotland, but then I go over to and it's hard. And I'm interviewing, it's very exciting. For me, it's very exciting. I'm interviewing Jason Patel, who's not only a musician, but an actor. And he is the co star of Ben Hardy in Unicorns. Oh my God, you're in the UK. Denise, have you seen Unicorns? Do you know about Unicorns? You need to see Unicorns. Unicorns is being premiered in the UK and London, different areas right now. Please vicariously go see Unicorns. It is about so Ben Hardy, who's actor, he was in the X-Men and he's been in a few different things, right? He was in EastEnders,
Oh,
and he's gotten really great success. So Jason Patel is a drag queen, and they meet up, and this whole kind of pseudo romance kind of, I don't know enough about it because I haven't seen it, but it looks incredible and it looks really emotional and it's happening. It's been released.
I
It's
feel
a
like I
UK
have
film.
seen a clip or something from it. The way
It
you
looks
describe it, I feel like,
incredible.
and like our Pride stuff, it was 2 Saturdays ago for London, but it's the August 1st, I think, is Brighton. So this is kind of our peak, we're at peak priding time over here. So I would imagine that this would be the perfect time to premiere it. So it must be showing someplace. I'll have to do a quick Google search and see if I can figure out like if there's going
I'm
to
going
be.
to drop it to you in your DM, but so I'm going to be speaking with Jason Patel about the movie and his music, and he's got a new EP and coming out in a couple of days, and I'm really excited by that because as somebody who's a person of color from the UK, the Indian and history of queer, it hasn't been kind at times,
Oh yeah.
and also then being in a film. And I don't know if you had a chance to see, oh my God, crazy, is it called Monkey Man with Dev Patel? Um,
No, I
that,
wanted to see that, and I felt like it was like a flash, and it was gone.
oh my God. So if you get a chance to see that, that has a lot. So about, dragon, almost two spirit community within that film. I just think it's really important that we always remember that it's not just a North American or a white kind of, or just the mainstream of queer that's affected and that music is coming out of. We owe it to ourselves to broaden our horizons, to listen to non-English language music.
Yeah.
The emotion is still there, but the stories that are coming through some of this music is really powerful. And the
Yeah, we
stories
talked about
of
that last time about like with Eurovision, like
mm,
sometimes that country's entrant, or selected performer or whatever will do it in their home language, and it doesn't matter, like you fully, especially if it's a big power ballad, like you fully get the gist of it, you don't have
the
to.
emotions there
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
music and in the instrumentation and the musicality of it. The emotion is there. But especially in North America, we are so terrible at boxing things in and saying that it's only valid if, and I mean, I come from a trilingual country,
Yeah.
English, French, and well, now, I mean, it's everything. It could be Mi'kmaq, it could be, Korean, you name it. We're hearing a lot more languages,
mhm,
but we're not allowing it into what we
music,
deem
yeah,
as valued. And it's really unfair and it's really unfortunate because we are the ones who lose out on such great culture by
yeah,
not allowing it into our lives. And I think that, if I can get to play, and I have played non a lot of non English, not English language music, and I try to do it every show, but it's just you have to make room. You
yeah,
gotta make room for it because
yeah.
there's so much good
There's got to be
quality.
space. Yeah, there's got to be space. It's a big pie. There's so many, there's a lot of pieces to it. No one is going to get left out,
Yeah.
but it's about, really you're the person that's sharing that with other people. Whereas anybody else might listen to it. Like me, I got music from Eurovision on my phone. You think I play that in front of my friends? No. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
I do.
good. But I should. It's literally car ride music. But but what you're saying is exactly, what we should be doing. We should be saying, "Oh my God, listen to this like cool song or whatever," and let someone else hear it and feel what you feel. And it might not do the same thing for them, but give them a
There's
shot.
a reason that
Yeah.
K-pop has taken off. And
Mm,
it's not because of the
they're
the
cute.
the the
Yeah,
vocals. It's not has nothing to do with what they're saying at the time because everybody who listens to it, nobody knows what they're talking about because nobody really goes the extra mile to kind of like dive into it. And if they do, good on them. But
yeah,
there's a reason why it does because it resonates because they're using a sound, especially for youth, that youth have turned into,
Yeah.
have steered into. And that's great because they're opening themselves up. But if you were to do a different spin on it and do a different kind of sound, probably they wouldn't listen to it because they won't give it a chance. And it's like, why? It's still good music. Stop,
Yeah.
stop devaluing it because it's not in a language that you can understand.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
It's just really too bad that we are a world that, and I will say North America is really primary, culprits
Example
of
of it.
this,
Yeah, yeah,
um, that
exactly.
just devalue things because it doesn't fit into what we think is sellable,
Yeah.
Right, right.
right?
It's
Yeah,
almost like a snobby way of looking at it, that if it's not in your
true.
language
It's
in
so
the
true. It really is.
yeah.
That's what I
I mean,
think.
it's the same thing with JD's music, right? To think that if anybody was to say that JD's music is not, it doesn't have a consumer value behind it, they're absolutely bonkers, because it does have a consumer value to it. It just might not be the consumers you want,
Mhm.
but there
Yeah.
is a definite value there from a consumer standpoint, right? Like, completely.
100%. Yeah, I
You
get
know,
it.
you were right when you said before, like I did much like Billy, um, who plays rockabilly music. I got to the point where you can't really chase the sound like what you think, what you're hearing now, that's the sound on the radio. When by the time you're done with your album, there's another sound, and now it sounds
Completely.
dated. So I just stopped caring about what sound people liked, not what sound, what the industry was going to be looking for, and instead just wrote what I liked and what I thought people would like that come to my shows. And I stopped worrying about what the industry was looking for, because you never know, you just don't know what that next thing is, because when they have like a new young artist, they create that sound for them, and then that becomes the sound. But as an indie artist, it's very hard to know until it's already out there, and then it's too late, because now you're just going to sound like that other thing that's already out there, you
Well, and
know.
you're already behind the eight ball too when it comes to music, because and this is, I had this conversation the other day. I'm like, forget about the fact that artists are queer. Let's take, for example, and let's just flatten, like, just like make the playing field level. They're already at a disadvantage. Anybody who's not crossed the line of value, they're already at a disadvantage from a radio standpoint, because now with streaming, so no, not, please, if you're watching this, I am not attacking Taylor Swift. Please, I will put that right up front.
Easy,
But
Swifties, easy.
easy, please. Um, but you have an industry who values, specific things. So Taylor Swift releases an album, but Taylor Swift currently has, and if from my own view, we'll say, about 12 different songs in rotation, in high rotation, from
Yeah,
5 different albums.
Yeah,
So usually, once upon a time, you would have an artist, they would release a single, that single went into rotation.
yeah,
But now you have artists who are putting in 10, 12 different songs in rotation, where they used to be one. So 11 spots in high rotation have been taken away from
yeah.
any other artist trying to get a chance to be
yeah,
heard on the radio waves. That's a business model. No, no, shade to Taylor Swift or her people. That is a business model that they are attacking. Harry Styles has done the same. Olivia Rodrigo, Beyonce, you name it. They're all doing the same thing. Ariana Grande. That is the industry, because now streaming means you can put everything, even if it's older, in high rotation, because the people that you want, the consumers that you want to attract, are out there, and that's how you want to position it. So then you
Yeah.
move to other radio, and other radio is trying to keep up. So they start doing it, maybe not to the same extent. And there's a lot of dollars in play. People are paying to have those spots.
yeah,
So
Mhm.
now a JD Danner comes along, and you may hit up a rock station that normally would totally be like, oh, great, let's get JD out there, right? But we don't have the spaces to put you in rotation, because those spaces have now been co-opted
Mhm.
by streams, and the
Yeah.
streams are what are moving everything forward. So you have an even smaller piece of the
Oh,
pie,
yeah,
but
oh,
more people making music.
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yep. And
Wild. It is wild.
not to mention, you have to be 14 to start now. Like, and that didn't just happen. I started playing music professionally when I was 30, 28, 30. That was already like, I might as well have been 80, but I never let that bother me either, because I thought I'm just going to pave my own way, do my own thing, and not worry about how I'm not 16 starting out. I guess, record labels I hear like to know that they're going to get maybe 2 decades out of an artist when they put millions of dollars into them.
Yeah.
However, the business changed so much with the internet and streaming that I don't even think labels are the same anymore. Like as far as getting,
No, they're not. And I mean, they're hurting too. They're not hurting in the same respect as other people, but they're hurting in the sense that because a lot of artists are just getting so fed up. And that's kind of where the queer artist kind of comes in. The queer artist kind of is the biggest purveyor of do-it-yourself music
Yeah.
because they have to, because
Right.
yeah,
people are not giving them the chance, because same-sex pronouns within a song apparently is not marketable, because nobody knows what to say to a trans artist because they don't actually allow them to actually speak their authenticity, because they
Yeah.
want it to be pretty and polished and everything like that. And then if you do go too far, well, then it can't be radio friendly.
Right.
And it's
right,
like, so they're doing it themselves.
Yeah. And
And
the worst part too is that they think that they can only market uh, to LGBTQ people, and that's just a very small audience right there.
yeah,
Like they don't understand that it could appeal to anyone that hears it.
it's
exactly.
bonkers, that mindset.
Yeah.
It's like saying that a person of color making music will only resonate with a person of color. We
Right.
know that to be 100% untrue.
Yeah.
And if you just bring up the large amount of people of color who have become such, just people love them.
Icon.
Beyonce,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
even if you go back to Luther Vandross,
Yeah.
people, that mindset is just bonkers to think that. But even so, we and I'm at fault. I am guilty of this at times, of trying to kind of only, make sure that the queer community knows about the queer music, but I need to be better at saying to the non-queer community that this music is just as valid. You
Right.
don't need to turn it off because it's queer. It will speak to you.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
have to let it in.
Yeah.
hmm
Exactly.
yeah,
100%. Like I really wish that was, it front and foremost. You know what I mean? That people would just let it in and not worry about who recorded it and what they look like and what, it
exactly. Yeah,
really is. Because I mean, any other music, uh, you don't really do that to. You know what I mean? Like, I'll listen to Patti LaBelle. I don't give a shit what she's wearing on her head. You know what I mean? Like, I will listen to Aretha Franklin. I don't care that she's black. I don't care that she's overweight. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. It's just like, I don't understand why they apply that, to the queers, but not to the broad scope of anybody, like Rag and Bone Man. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Like,
I think it comes back to the fact that they don't know how, because they've never taken the time to educate themselves
yes.
or listen to what's being said. And maybe as a community, maybe we have been, loud at times where maybe we needed to be, more softer in terms of our approach. There's a lot of different reasons,
Sure.
but they shut down because they think that that they're going to have to answer for it. I think that is one part of it, is
They
that
don't
they don't
want
want
to.
drama. They don't
Yeah.
want to have to answer for it. They don't want to have to justify playing it.
Yeah.
So if you have, and so Chapel Roan is killing it right now, right? And that's somebody
Yes.
who's completely unapologetically queer.
Yeah.
Chapel Roan don't give two fucks
Yeah.
about what you say one way or the other. So it's great to have an artist like that come through. But it's like Chapel Roan is one artist. I mean, Renee Rapp's another one, right? Renee Rapp, like, God, I love Renee Rapp.
Burst
I
on
love
the
the fact
scene.
that
Burst on
she's
the
gotten in there,
scene.
that she was Regina George, that she
Yeah.
is out there. I
Mhm.
love the fact, like, I already loved Billie Eilish, but for Billie Eilish to say, I just didn't know that I wanted a vagina in my face, to say
Yeah.
that and actually come out like that with her level of in the music industry, I'm kind of like, oh my God, so good. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because who kind of got placated and didn't get taken seriously enough when they came out with Pussy is God, and that is King Princess, who is phenomenal, but really got some attention, and then everybody kind of hauled back a bit. And I'm like, these queers, let them loose, man. Let them loose. That's all I'm saying.
100%. I say that all the time. Like we talked about Elliot Lee. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, another
yeah.
one. Just being her
I mean,
authentic.
Elliot's a phenomenal example of somebody who's putting out music. That music is good. That music is, and it's innovative.
Mhm.
It's challenging. It's quirky. There's so much that's going on there. And
Yeah.
Elliot isn't going to change. Elliot is Elliot. And God love them, because that I don't want them to change. I don't want to
Right,
see that
that's
change. I want
someone
that.
just being their authentic self, and
Mhm.
Yes.
people, stand up, take notice, and they go, "This is really cool."
But
Like,
it comes
you know,
back to a JD Danner, like a Billy Mick, who that's who they are as artists. They shouldn't have to feel like they need to change, because there is an audience for them.
mhm.
But so many of the outlets out there need to recognize that there is more than just this, pinpoint of artistry and this pinpoint of audience.
Yeah,
So
And
it's so broad. It's so
make
broad.
some room.
Yeah,
thank
exactly.
you for that. I
And
appreciate.
this is what we were saying, Kenny, is that I can't think other than like back when we started in 2006, and I was doing a different show, and I went from doing this raunchy, exploitative show called Dirty White Chicks, that was awful. Like, we literally made fun of porn stars and reviewed porn sites and made fun of them and interviewed like
I don't
Jenna
think I know that
James,
show.
I kind of
like
love that. I kind of love that. I
it
gotta
was.
say.
I mean, I just can't believe we got away with it, but it was the very beginning of internet-based radio.
Mhm.
So it was really new, and we did really well. And I went from I I went from there, and then I found out like some things about the station that I didn't like, and I looked over the contract, which I signed without reading, and and realized that I was committed to uh 30, was it 30 months, 30 weeks? I don't even know. All I know is that I did the math and I fulfilled the contract, so I was able to quit. And then I didn't have a home and I didn't have a show. So I restructured and made the Lesbian Lounge and brought it to a gay man and said, I want a home for this. Like, I don't know what you do. And he said, well, it's called, I think I found it because it was called Girl Radio.
Right.
And I saw the
My Girl
couple letters and I
Radio.
was right, girl, right?
My
And so
Girl
I
Radio.
contacted Devin and told him my problem, and his solution was, we'll give you a home here. It's Gay Internet Radio Live, GIRL. It's not girls, it's just gay everything. So,
It's brilliant.
like, okay. So he gave us a home, and we had to do a lot of work because it was built in, it was all about the boys, and it felt um awkward and uncomfortable, to be
Mm,
on that or whatever. But we made it work, we really did. And the idea was that, I get my point is, somebody gave us a chance, what
Yeah.
I mean? And we fucking exploded. It took 3 years, but we exploded. And then and then we just capitalized and built and built and built. But if he hadn't given us that chance, we're two completely different species, in
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
little community. You know what I mean? We were fat, sweaty 40-year-old lesbians, and they were quite young, energized, gay men. So it was like, oh my God, it was like pushing magnets together,
But it
um
worked. It was
it worked.
awesome.
Right, like it absolutely worked
I
because
am making a t-shirt that says "Fat 40-year-old lesbian." I am making one, and I'm going to
sweaty,
wear it.
sweaty, fat, sweaty
Good.
40-year-old lesbians. That's what we
Sweating.
were.
Fat,
Don't forget
sweaty
the sweating.
40-year-old lesbians.
He literally like was okay with it. Like, he was like, "You'll find your people." They might not be ours, but
And
you'll
they'll
find your
find
people.
you.
And
They
we
found
did,
you.
right? Like, seriously,
Oh,
JD, we used to make JD come along and
I
play the
loved
events,
being on that show. I loved
right?
it.
And the live events. We would be setting up and we'd be watching these dykes walk in their camouflage cargo shirts, their Birkenstocks and their baseball hats backwards and their carabiners and their perfectly packed coolers. And we'd be like, these are our people. Like we found our people. These are our people.
He found
Um,
us.
but but it all comes down to someone giving them a chance. And what you're doing for these artists is giving them the chance that I would say so many of them would never have. So
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying is what you're doing is God's work, my man. I
I
mean,
Yes.
think
God's
Yes.
work.
for me, I didn't have it growing up. And I can't imagine who I would be or who I would have become earlier
Yeah.
or how I would have figured things out earlier had I been able to hear, because I like a sponge, right? It's like I wake up and there's music. Like right now, as I speak, there's music in my head. It's just a
Aw,
weird thing. I feel it's a weird condition and I probably should get it checked out. But it's so it's so true that I never had it and it could have changed. And I don't want anybody who's somewhere who doesn't feel that they're heard or they see themselves in things or that they don't hear themselves reflected in music and they
Yeah.
love music so much. Music's so powerful. I want them to know that they can hear themselves. I want them to know that there are artists out there that they can relate to and that can actually knock on their DM door and be like, hey, I heard your music, I love it, thank you for it, and actually get a response. And
mhm,
that
mhm.
is possible with the
Yeah.
internet and with the world that we live in. And I never want to see a kid never see themselves in music. And people say, oh, but there's queer people on all the time on music. And I'm like, not the way that these kids need to hear themselves
Yeah.
reflected. They need to be able to hear it and kind of go like, yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm feeling. And they
Yeah.
don't get that from regular radio, but the
Right.
music is out there, so they have to be able to access it.
That's just it. If they hear the stuff that you're playing, and you've found someone that resonates with them, that might be niche, quirky, a little weird, you know what I mean? But they're hearing it on the radio and they know that it's possible for them too. Like
Yeah.
that's, I don't think there's a way to describe what that must make them feel like. The
Yeah.
elation, you know,
Seen, right?
yeah, and that's what you're
Totally.
doing. That's
Yeah.
why it's so important. And I feel like if if you if you branched out and had other, a team of other people helping you, poor thing, you're doing this on your own. We should say that you're doing
Yeah.
it on your own. But if you literally had a team that was
Yeah.
was doing it in all different sectors and pockets, and because I think it's wonderful also that community radio has given you a platform. That's a little bit unheard of, you
It's
know.
so I am so fortunate that number one, the community radio station that I went to, the three primary people who are like look after the station are people of color. So going into that, I knew that the language that I'm speaking, what I'm trying to say would be heard. Whether or not I was a fit or there was space, that was secondary. But I knew that they would get where I was coming from.
They would definitely.
And right from the get-go, it was never a no. It was kind of like, we'd love to.
That's
And that is so fortunate. And I always say all the time, there should never be separate, like marginalized communities, whether you're a person of color, non-English language, if you are part of a marginalized community, there is strength in numbers. And whether it's queer, and I hate the fact that there's infighting a lot of the times, and I hate the fact that there's separation within the queer community.
Yeah.
That's a challenge all of its own. But
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm always looking, it's like, we know what it's like to have a door shut in our face
Oh yeah. Yeah.
or to be looked at strangely or to be discounted. Never think that the other person that you're going to, who may be from that same kind of a background or same kind of like experience, they'll listen to you, but approach it properly. And
Yeah.
I'm so fortunate that they gave me space, and then finding space around the world in other different pockets too. And I'm very lucky. It's not we are not talking. I am not Virgin Radio.
Yeah, right.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is we also have a community that is kind of also blocking out our own people
Yeah.
in lieu of those bigger names.
Mhm.
And I mean, BBC One does a great job of showcasing new and upcoming
Well, Jules
artists.
Holland, yeah, he's like how right? Like he's
I can't
iconic.
say enough. They
Yeah.
do such a great job, better than anybody in North America, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And the
Yeah.
same thing with over in Australia, like a station like with Triple J.
Mhm.
Like they are giving space to those artists,
Yeah.
and that's so important. That's so important
It
because,
is. And it shows they're catching up. You know what I
yeah,
Yeah.
mean? Like it shows that they're catching up with what we already know is needed,
Hmm.
and it's so slow to happen, that it's like at a creep pace, like just creeping, creeping, creeping. But you're right. Like there are places, and BBC's fucking legendary,
yeah,
iconic. And it's like they're doing it, and it should give people, pause and say like, well, why couldn't we? Why can't we? Clear Channel and places like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't get why they're not on the bandwagon yet. And because here's the thing. I think that most massive corporations that are in the entertainment industry are always looking for the next big thing or the next thing to go viral, but they're also at that weird crossroads of this cancel culture that we live
yeah,
in, and they
Yeah.
don't want to make
Yeah.
a wrong move in any way, shape, or form, and that holds them back. Whereas
Yeah.
you can't be doing anything wrong when you're doing the right thing, and that is to give space to these new up and coming artists that are never going to get eyes on them and ears on them if you don't help.
Mhm.
So I mean, I know you probably think that you're doing it on the smallest of levels, but combine all your platforms like community radio, okay, but you've got a podcast as well, and
Yeah.
you're across all your socials. So, the little bit that you're doing is not a little bit to the artist that you're doing it for. And that's like something to keep in mind. And, hopefully, you only want to get bigger and bigger at what you're doing because it is so needed. So, we love having this talk with you because I don't know that a lot of people think about this on the level that you do, and they and there's so much appreciation for it, and you probably don't even hear that, but there's so much appreciation. Like JD's an artist, and I've always done my thing in podcasting, and and so she appreciates it on the level and the creative, plane that she works on. I appreciate it on the plane that platform from that I see you from. So I can't even imagine what a little podunk singer, that is newly queer and and connects with music, and even if they're just a listener, or someone that appreciates it, there's so much value in what you're doing right now. It's absolutely incredible. And here you are talking to us, taking time out again,
I know.
might
How
I
nice of
add,
you.
again.
Nice of you to
So I
come back.
just basically want to thank you for your time, and once again apologize for our
oh
my
no. And listen, so somebody who I think is doing it so incredibly well, and the same kind of thing, Samir Gadia, who's the lead singer of Young the Giants, on Sirius XM on Alt Nation has a program that it may be on other channels as well, but I hear it on Sirius XM Alt Nation. He's got a show called Point of Origin, where he takes and he finds up and coming people of color or from a different country or artists, and spotlights them and puts them out there and puts shines a spotlight on them. And that's somebody coming from a cultural background who's been fortunate enough to be in a band who does well in the United States and does well internationally with Young the Giant, and they're phenomenal, but as paying it back in a way. And I
Yeah.
look at this and I say, what comes next after me? I have no idea because I won't be here. It'll be whatever. But if we can make it a little bit better and easier for those artists who come next, open the door a little bit, give space, challenge each other to make the space, to make the programs, whether it's a radio show, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video series, and take the time and just give it to them to have space to be heard, then hopefully it's a little bit easier for them. But yeah, I tip my hat to somebody like Samir Gadia, who's probably touring, probably has a lot of, things, irons and fires, but is really trying to make a point to pay it back with that show. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that, like I said, musicians, artists and stuff like that, that are sending you their stuff and you're playing it, you know, it's an amazing thing, but also just for people that appreciate where you're coming from and are just music lovers,
Yeah.
that
Both
don't have
are.
like a pigeonhole, like, oh, I'm just about 80s music, oh, I'm just about rock and roll. People
Mhm.
that have an appreciation for a broad scope of all the different genres and stuff will appreciate it, and maybe they'll be the ones that start the next show,
yeah.
next thing. So I just, like I said, I think there's so many layers to this, and I'm just so impressed by your commitment to it and what you've created, and just what you're doing, ongoing. It's fantastic. So I'm going to remind everybody, it's the Q Review, and then the
Mhm.
FM show. Tell them the website for the community radio because they can listen to that too.
So on Thursday nights, so it's such a long, sordid story. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. EST, and then again at midnight, you can catch the show, which is Out Loud, the queer music radio show, on communityradio.ca. If you're in my area, you can check it out on 97.5 FM. You're probably not going to be doing that. So go to communityradio.ca. The great thing is, because of my good friends in Australia at DRN1, the wonderful Russell Hauer, who also has a podcast situation called Pod 2. After it airs, so it airs in Australia the next morning, and it airs also in South Africa and different stations around the world and in Toronto. DRN1 United, which is DRN1, .com.au, different part of the world. It lives on demand, so you can always go check out back uh, former kind of shows
Mhm.
on that station
Oh,
because they host it all and they keep them all there, and which is phenomenal. So I can drive people there as well and let them know that if you, especially the artists who want to, hear themselves or hear the show that they were played on,
Yeah.
and not everybody can listen in at the time, they can
Right.
always go to DRN1 United and actually catch the former show, which is just a gift to be able to have somebody in my pocket, in my corner, like
yeah.
Russell and the DRN folks, to be able to just provide that.
Yeah, we feel that way with gay SA radio out of
Yeah.
South.
Oh, they are phenomenal. Livia,
Yeah.
like they were the
Livio.
first people
Yeah.
who said we will take you on, and they have never ever
Yeah.
turned away. They are so wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
They
From there.
have us in their podcast category, and they play us Tuesdays at 1 p.m. over there. So
Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. South Africa time, which is
right,
very different for everybody
right,
else.
1 p.m. Tuesdays. That's
10 a.m.
time.
on Gay SA Radio, and then again Thursday. They play us twice a week, and they play the show twice a week, and they have been phenomenal. They've been so kind.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're so grateful that people are picking it up, and it's nice because we're doing the work and they're benefiting, and then their listeners are benefiting, and it like producers must love this. Like, I just got
Right?
to grab the show and just drop it in and
And
good to go.
it's done. Yeah.
Fantastic. It helps us, it helps them. I love it. I love these connections and working relationships too that we're out like creating in the moment. So, now that I feel I have so many, queer music friends that I just can't wait to tell them, like, get in touch with Kenny.
Good.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please do.
I definitely will. And I know that they can find you on all the socials at the Q Review. And I just wish you continued success with this. I just think it's
Yes.
amazing.
Thank you so much. If people want to know more, they can go to the website, which is curatedbyq.com, at the Q reviews on socials. And I am like, so people always like, oh, well, maybe they'll respond to me. No. Knock on my door on my DMs. You're going to get a response. It's just me. It's not a team. It's just me. And I will be the one. It may be a couple of hours. I may be busy at some point in time, but I will definitely respond.
That's what
as I like to say, you're your people. I'm my people. I'll be like, I'll have my people call your people. Oh, wait, I'm my people. You'll hear
That's
from
right.
me. You're your people.
Yeah, we go through this all the time. It's so true. But look, like I said, we're doing the work that hopefully others will benefit from and carry on when we're done, you know?
Yeah. That's what it's about. I mean, what we do online like this is community building. And I think that it's just, we are showing the way to others. I think that we'll be old and forgotten. That's fine. But hopefully they keep it up after, we decide to go off into the sunset.
Exactly. Listen, sir, you have a fantastic evening. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
I can't wait to that we're just rounding out July with the best guests. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
I grew up outside of Queens, but I love the South, eating grits and greens. I like wearing cowboy boots. Yeah, my family tree's got southern roots. I'm loud, I'm proud in my pickup truck. I dig getting dirty out in the mud. I'm a New York girl, I get a little extreme in my redneck limousine. All jacked up and painted John Deere green. Got a rebel flag and a Yankees cap, proudly hanging on my gun rack. Got fat chrome pipes and a big V8, cooler than the blizzard of '88. It's the hottest set of wheels you've ever seen, my redneck limousine. My New York slang's got a southern drawl. You can really tell when I say, hey y'all. I love tailgate parties and barbecues, blasting Johnny Cash and the boxcar blues. All the boys just want to get inside, and the girls think I'm crazy till I give them a ride. I'm a New York girl, I get a little extreme, and my redneck limousine, all jacked up and painted John Deere green. Got a rebel flag and a Yankees cap, proudly hanging on my gun rack. Got fat chrome pipes and a big V8, cooler than the blizzard of '88. It's the hottest set of wheels you've ever seen, my redneck limousine. Now I don't care what people say, I'm gonna drive this truck till I'm in my grave. Redneck limousine, all jacked up and painted John Deere green. Got a rebel flag and a Yankees cap, proudly hanging on my gun rack. I got fat chrome pipes and a big V8, cooler than the blizzard of '88. It's the hottest set of wheels you've ever seen, my redneck limousine. Redneck limousine, my redneck limousine.